Welcome to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's creative voice. Today my guest is my good friend Craig Beight. We've been friends for over 20 years, and one of the main things that we do publicly is a comedy troupe called Bullskit Productions, which you can find on bullskit.com. Otherwise, he tells us a little bit about his life on this podcast, talks a little bit about why we like comedy, talks about his religion a little bit, his anti-religion a little bit, and we just have fun and kind of riff on each other, and it's kind of a fun podcast to follow. The music in this podcast is brought to you by the Faux Pas. They are a great three-piece band out of Toledo. These girls are awesome. They played with my band Third Class, and they're just wonderful people. They haven't really been around for the last few years, but rumor has it they might be working on a new single that will be out later in 2015. So keep an eye out. If you search the Faux Pas, search them on Facebook, Bandcamp. They have a 3-song EP called The Basement EP. It's fantastic. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Shut up, man. All right, Here we go. All right, guys, so today we're just hanging out with our drinks, and my guest is Craig Beight. You've probably heard of him because this podcast interviews celebrity people.
Celebrities, like famous people. Which means no one knows who I am right now.
That's what I'm saying.
No one knows.
See, what I've done is I've said the opposite of what was inferred.
He's ironic like that. He goes the opposite route of what
actually
would actually be funny. He's like anti-funny.
Right.
That's his thing.
A really good story. Last night, I took a couple people to Denny's, and they were like, "Let's go to Denny's," and I was like, "Actually, we should."
Who did you take to Denny's?
Mindy and Corey.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "Let's go to Denny's." I was like, "Actually, they should probably just call it Awesomies." So, like, what I had done with that is I was like, "Hey, like, take the DENN and just throw it away, and then put awesome in the place."
Wait. So hold on. I'm confused.
Yeah.
So took.
Well, let me start at square one. So we were going to Denny's, right?
Well, okay. Wait. Let me start
earlier. We were hungry.
Okay, you know what? We'll roll with that. We'll go with that. I mean,
you kind of got
hungry.
That?
Huh?
You get that kind of, or
whatever. You know what? I just
okay.
Just keep going.
So we were hungry. I was like, "Hey, let's drive to Denny's." And then I was like, and they were like, "Yeah, I love Denny's." And I was like, "Yeah, they should probably call it Awesomies."
So this is like this is gonna be on the podcast.
Yeah. This is it. It's a wordplay. So anyways, the word awesome was inserted where the DENN would be. If you spelled Denny's DENNY.
Right.
Then you insert the word awesome and then kind of hyphen Y type thing.
Like, you're not going to cut this part out. It's going to be in, like...
No, you cut the DENN out.
Right. So you're not...
Yeah, we do cut that out. Yeah, we cut that and put the word awesome in.
You're going to leave this like chunk of everything you just said is going to take up time.
No. Well, I said Denny's before that, but then I took the chunk of Den out.
I really...
And I put awesome. But it was kind of a wordplay joke.
I really hate you. No idea how much I hate you.
It was a wordplay joke.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's
you get it though?
Yeah, it's your whole anti-funny thing.
Of course that.
Yeah,
it was like, it's so not funny, it's funny. Right.
It's so not funny that...
Well, that's
it's so funny that it actually
there.
becomes not funny
again. You can actually, it's just so not funny. That it's funny.
Yeah.
No, it's not funny. Nothing is funny.
I like how I'm like giving you like I'm doing a like facial expression type joke to you right now where I'm looking really bored by what you're saying, but anyone that's listening to the podcast have no idea I'm doing it. I just sound like I have nothing to say.
That's because you're not doing it, man.
Oh.
Your eyebrows are like wiggling a bunch, and your teeth are dancing in your mouth, and it's doing things with your face that no one could ever actually do. It's really scaring me. Why are you doing that?
It's just the whole anti-funny thing. I'm trying it too. Yeah.
It's like scary. So scary, it's not funny. That's pretty good. Okay, cool, dude. Well, let me look at my little notebook here that has really important things in it.
You have a notebook, and then you have this.
That's not
Right next to the notebook, he has this little diagram of different.
No. Okay, it's a yoga book. God,
you have yoga poses, man.
yeah.
What kind of podcast is this?
Mountain pose, upward salute, standing forward rape. What the hell?
He's still doing the anti-funny thing. Oh.
Jeez. Anyways,
Anywho.
Actually, yeah, I actually have a yoga, like a book of positions that says sun salutations, and it has weird things like forward-facing dog, upward-facing dog, standing half-forward bend, and there's one, it says number 69, and it just says 69 again.
Well, we stay organized, and they make that number 69.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's not really
good.
a yoga pose, but whatever. You want to try that one with me, or?
You know, I thought about it. Okay, so I saw it on the book. It's like, that would be interesting, but it's like it's too visual for a podcast. I mean, they might hear some awkward noises and stuff, but...
Well, you know what's weird? I mentioned this, that stupid, like, it's not stupid, it's awesome, but the, like, really funny humor, weird, dumb humor, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old podcast.
Right.
Every time, almost every single...
See, that's not. Why is that funny? I don't know. That's
funny.
just. Oh, it's not. No.
But every single episode that that those guys do, they have this game at the end,
right?
And
which I haven't listened to. That. You've told me to listen to that, and I haven't.
Awesome.
I haven't listened to it
dude,
yet.
In all fairness, like I'm not. It's no offense. It's like some of their movies are good, whatever. But like, I'm not not a geek about them. Like I just like them,
right?
Like, as people on them, they're just really good. Like I could, some of the time, they are talking about the exact same thing over and over again, and for some reason,
I kind of hate when that happens.
It totally works though. It's like totally like, I've heard them do like Q&As on. It's always live too,
right?
But they do Q&As. They answer the same questions over and over, but there's something about their demeanor that is like that totally flows. It's like when you have. I think I said this to somebody else. Like, it's like when you have a teacher in a subject that you don't care about, and then you just do really well in the class because their teacher's so great. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. If you don't like chemistry,
oh, okay.
Like yeah. I totally can't. I can't at all like defend it based on the words they use, like based on like what they just say, because it's just them goofing around, and who cares? Like we are now, but even more so. Like way less like
going off on like all kinds of weird tangents
and
I mean that's cool. I kind of
it's great.
It sounds like
those
it's
are
cool,
the best parts. Yeah,
like freestyling format. I mean, I like that.
And there's structure in that. They ask him how long he's been sober, because Jason Mewes has been. He had problems with drugs, and then he cleaned up in 2010 or 11 or something. And so they have this little structure where sometimes they read tweets from the audience. Sometimes they have volunteers that come up and play games. And then they ask him to tell like a sex story and a drug story. So they have this, but at the same time, like, it's a lot of the same stories over and over. They don't even remember that they told them.
I think.
But it's like when you hang out with your friends. How many times have we told each other the same story?
The same stories, and you just and you enjoy them just as much as you did the first time you told them.
And Jason is like Derek, our friend Derek, who was on a podcast called The Comic Shoot, right?
I don't remember.
That might not be right, but I think
I remember listening to it, but I don't remember the name of it.
Well, whatever it is, it's definitely Derek Baker, who writes reviews and sometimes does podcasts at allcomics.com. We know that.
Right.
Yeah, and that's our buddy Derek. And he's one of those dudes like that you're like, would he be on a podcast? And then when he is, he's like super entertaining because his like timing is so weird. The comments he makes are
well,
totally,
he does the
like,
thing where he makes it completely. He's doing the thing where he made it completely conversational, where you didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like he was on a
No.
podcast. It sounded like someone just kind of put like a recorder up
Mm-hmm.
to his mouth, and he was just, rambling about different topics.
Yeah, and it was
different
awesome.
comic book
Somehow
topics.
he lost that. He just like Jason Mewes. He
He's not doing it anymore, though, right?
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
he definitely had that charm that had to do with like no inhibitions in conversation for
Right.
some, like way
Yeah.
less inhibition than you and me and most people have,
Right.
which is really awesome. I mean, I envy that. But at the same time, it was just like with Kevin Smith. It was like the other dude was the structure, and the guy that like moved it
Yeah.
forward. So it was like listening to that dynamic is all it is. Half the things they say I've heard 100 times. But okay, so wait, why did I say that to you, man?
Why'd you say what?
The Jason Mewes thing, or the Jay and Silent
You
Bob
just
Dylan.
saying something about
Crap.
you brought up the pod. I don't even remember.
Oh,
you just
you
brought
asked
up the.
why my burp was funny, maybe? No, that wasn't. Oh man.
I don't know. It's still funny.
Anyways, have you heard that podcast? We'll just do it again. We'll never remember. Oh well, I don't want to listen back. Whatever. All I mean is that podcast is cool, and there's some reason why I said that. Anyways, man, I hate that.
I think
hear
it was-
people
I don't
do
think
that
it
on
was a-
podcasts all the time, and I
Yeah,
always
I
know
know.
what they're. I always know
I
the
think
thought they're trying to catch.
literally, I think it wasn't related. I don't think it was related to anything.
No, I think it was something that.
I don't remember either, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm not someone that like keeps track of.
No, we both
Stuff
went
like-
into this whatever the second thing about that podcast was, and left whatever behind
Yeah.
that we had. No, I didn't keep track either. Okay,
no
well,
clue anymore.
well, I guess.
Just study your notebook intently.
Look at my notebook. Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you what I ask everybody. What do you think about Ohio?
Ohio. Here's the thing about Ohio. Ohio is
Welcome back to NPR.
welcome back to NPR Ohio edition.
Here's the thing about Ohio. I have a soothing voice.
Wait. It's my
I have a soothing voice.
it's my turn. Remember we said that
Go ahead.
I was going to talk about Ohio first.
You know what?
Okay,
That's fine. I'm not upset. I'm not going to be passive
You're
aggressive
not.
about this.
you're not. Your
I'm
eyes.
not passive aggressive, is what I said.
Your
I'm
eyes
not
are
passive
your eyes are
aggressive.
bulging, and that big
You
vein
don't
in the
need to
top of your
describe
head
it
is about
because
the
I'm not
bird.
upset. You don't need to describe it because I'm not upset.
Anywho, so Ohio. Ohio is a state. First off, Ohio
Of mind.
is a physical state.
Oh, yeah.
Geographical state.
That's right.
Ohio.
All right, welcome back to the auto repair show.
Ohio. I don't know, dude.
Hey, don't be like my brother. Okay, sorry.
Ohio's cool. Ohio's cool.
Hmm.
I think I figured out that I wouldn't have to. Major reason I still stay in Ohio is just because the people I know are here. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think
there's nothing
like
that
it'd be
stands
cool
out.
to. I mean, it would be cool if I had some like romanticized answer where I could say, "Well, there's this aspect about Ohio and this that no other state has." Maybe it does, but I don't know. I don't know.
Dude,
I don't
know. Take it from me.
I think
man.
it's just the people.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all about the people now. It's not about. It's
Yeah.
not about like I live in Cleveland, and the majority of my friends live down
Cleveland's
here in
beautiful,
Youngstown.
but
yeah,
it's
and I
not-
love Cleveland, but it's not like
no.
I'm even married to that either.
No,
I don't
no, no.
have to live in Cleveland. Like
No, dude. Actually, being somebody who likes to like embellish about Ohio and like defend it and be like kind of positive about it, I still kind of am with you. Like, it's just somehow it's like when you buy a small house, which me and my wife did. It's like there's something about it where you're like it's a good place to put your roots down, but it's not. But it's not really. So I feel lucky because it's a good place to like have their home base. But it's not for any physical.
I think yeah.
Like-
I mean, I could say the
must be
same
something.
thing. I could. Yeah, I think you're right, but. Don't you think even maybe for you the biggest reason you think,
yeah,
this is
totally.
this
I
is the
could be
place to
happy
put a
anywhere.
good home base or
Oh, yeah, yeah.
establish yourself has more to do with just because of all all the people
totally.
around you.
Totally. First and
Right?
foremost, that.
With Peppy living, especially like where your actual physical house is. Peppy's like,
Oh yeah,
our friend Peppy lives like,
there.
a street over, a couple streets over.
And my mom lives like 15, 20 miles away. And you live only about, 50, 60 miles? 60 miles, is it? 80 miles? Whatever, not far.
Like 60-some miles.
And then a couple of friends from PA, and maybe not really anymore, but anyone around PA, between PA and Michigan, anywhere in Ohio that's not too far north or south. Even Columbus, really. It's not bad. But I was only trying to get formally at Ohio. Totally, first and foremost, my same answer as yours. Like, yeah. But, like, I talked to Steve about this, and it's like I could talk about Kansas even in a landmark way, but I can't really talk about Ohio that way. Like, it's so weird.
I think part of that is that you get, maybe not. Maybe Ohio really is boring, but I think part of it is that, you live in your own state, so you kind of lose perspective on any of the novelties of it. I'm sure there are about
like
Ohio, but even
Hummels, and even Hocking Hills, which is beautiful, like, which are the person I had on the podcast, or the other podcast, Sophie. I just did it with her. She went there with Jack.
Well, you brought up Kansas. What the hell's cool about Kansas?
Well, I only bring Kansas up because it's even that compared to Ohio has these monument rocks. Oh my god, dude!
Oh yeah, that's
it's
true.
It's unreal. It's so beautiful.
I've never been there.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I know Kansas is mostly just some small town and farmland, but I drove through it in April of 2012 with Ellen. It was gorgeous. It was like, I think because it was in April, all the grass was this dark green. It was perfect. But people tell me, they're always like, dude, if you drive through in the summer, you'd hate the place. Like, it'd just be burnt grass and dust, and who cares? But in the spring when we drove through, there were barely any cars in sight. It was this weird quiet. And there were road runners running by the car and stuff. It was like the countryside type of beautiful desert. It was turning into desert as we drove.
Right.
I couldn't believe that Kansas had
weird.
anything to offer, but it was one of the best states to drive through. But Monument Rocks and a couple like examples of farmland are like the big things in Kansas. I think the world's largest swimming pool's there, but who cares about it? It's just like there's some beautiful places you'd have to stop in Kansas, and Haviland. Has like that area has like tornado museums, and like you see spots where like towns were knocked down.
They have actual tornado.
There's like a museum
tornado
on the site of where like a town was wiped out and rebuilt and stuff. And like, granted, you have to drive like basically where I drive to visit you to get to just a market there. But it's really interesting. But Ohio, even with Kansas only having like 3 things I can list, Ohio, because I'm too close to it, I can't list this.
Yeah, so you can. I'm sure there are things you just don't even think about.
Yeah, I'm totally with
you. In conclusion to that question,
the people.
If you guys would all move to Kansas,
we'd say the same.
Everybody would move to Kansas but me. I would probably stay here for like a couple months and then realize, I'm going to move to Kansas too.
Yeah. No, total. First and foremost, completely that. And I'm not looking for a formal answer. I want to know what Ohio
that is. That is a formal answer. That's actually the right answer.
That everyone would give,
someone,
even if they're from
someone answered that differently?
Even if they're from Florida, they'll be like, the people.
Well, yeah.
Well, actually, now that you say that, we are known for being, like, nice, too, just culturally.
How did that start?
I don't know. I
don't think we're necessarily that nice.
No, not really, but if you just look at us as Midwest, which we barely are, but we're called Midwest.
I guess if we classify as that.
I'm not saying I don't like the term, but we're Eastern United States. That's.
In some ways, I think. Like, I remember, we'd taken like a couple different trips to different places. Like, probably the last big road trip was when we went to like New York City.
Yeah.
And Manhattan there.
7 hours. How long is it to Wisconsin? 10 hours.
10 hours.
How are we the Midwest?
Yeah,
but
true.
New York City.
But I mean that in terms of you go there and the stereotype is everyone in Manhattan is just like a complete dick to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Just
that's
just
why we
mean
have a good
and nasty.
reputation. Yeah. Because California people are passive aggressive, New York people are aggressive, and we're just nice.
But I don't even know like if you think about like some of the weirdos that go through Times Square, Like, it's the people that live in New York that are actually put up with those people and just walk by and not.
They're not gonna hurt.
Versus if you transplanted one of those people into the Midwest or something, you would have people that would walk up and say, "What the hell is wrong with you, boy? What are you doing?"
Well,
so there's different levels of being aggressive or mean, or in some ways, someone that lives in New York City is gonna like tolerate more.
Yeah, that's
than
true.
someone out here.
That's true. I always
someone in Ohio.
You think of the small town person coming up to them and saying what's wrong as someone who does care genuinely, but just is straightforward and rude by accident.
Have you noticed? I'm like interjecting on a tense. I've like spit across the table like 3 or 4 times when I was talking.
No.
See like the watermark on the table?
I didn't see it. No.
Do I do that all the time?
A little bit.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
I'm like spitting.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's disgusting.
That doesn't bother me, but I didn't really even see that you did that till I don't think I did. Maybe I'm just used to it. You just
saw the image of a spitball like go across your face and
I didn't
leaped over the table, and it's like
No, I didn't know. But that's awesome. I do see now there's a pool at my feet and my socks are wet.
Yeah, that's you didn't pee yourself. That's my spit.
Well, the world's largest swimming pool is now in Ohio, people.
Still doing the anti-funny thing.
Okay, second question. What religion are you?
I am. It's like your face went like, you're just laughing. We're just talking about a pool of spit, and then your face immediately went to this serious okay, so
second
question number 2.
What religion are you? Give me money. Give me money now for ice cream. That's a voice I do. It's really funny. Give me money for ice cream. Okay, what religion are you?
What religion do you think I am?
I guess atheist, but I don't know if you actually recognize yourself as that.
I
prefer disabled. Disabled. God. I can't even make a joke out of it. I prefer God challenged. There it is. God challenged.
God challenged, yeah.
That's what I meant to say. I prefer God disabled, or actually just special. If you use quotes while you say it enthusiastically, is fine.
Yeah, that's all fine. But actually, I prefer no labels because I am someone that cannot be labeled.
You are transcendent of labels.
I am transcendent of everything. Actually,
that makes sense. I'm sorry I tried to box you in, dude.
I'm actually transcendent of this podcast, so...
Dude, I'm sorry I tried to box you into a podcast, dude. I know that you can't be.
I am actually...
You are all.
Brushing aside the boundaries of this podcast.
He is all, and he is nothing.
This is
more nothing than all.
This is an all cast now. It's not a podcast, it's an all cast.
All-star cast. Because everybody knows who you are. And me, because we're famous in our minds.
We're on the internet.
Hey, Mom, we're on TV.
We're on TV if we connected our computer to the internet and stream our videos off of YouTube.
We're on some sort of medium that isn't regulated and that everyone can do. Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom, we're on an audio bite.
This is why our moms hate us.
They don't. Yeah, they do.
They do, actually.
Well, your mom is cool with me.
Well,
you know.
We'll save that for the next podcast.
Okay.
What was the question? Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I was implying that your mom. Sorry. Okay.
I guess I'm atheist. I was like making the joke that I'm someone that cannot be labeled, but I kind of do like think that that's like there's something about the atheist label that does bother me somewhat.
Is it because people?
I think there's an aspect of atheism. Some people would call it like a militant atheism, where there's a certain like level of disdain for any sort of religion or spiritual expression that I'm not quite sure that I'm there necessarily. Like I don't actively seek to denounce religion or denounce sorts of spiritual expression in like every conversation. Like I know some people who are they would even describe themselves as militant atheists who will do whatever they can to I guess cut down any sort of religious expression, and I don't really take my quote unquote atheism that far, but I'm definitely not. I knew, like, when you were talking to Ellen in the first podcast, I think it was that one, or maybe it was the one with Steve. You labeled yourself as agnostic.
Oh yeah, sure.
But I'm definitely not agnostic. I definitely don't. I kind of treat life as if, assuming there isn't any sort of God. In a sense, I don't worry about it, which I guess maybe an agnostic person wouldn't necessarily worry about it, but I do treat life and, think about consequences of things with, like, this baseline assumption that, there's probably isn't. I'm just going to assume that there isn't anything else out there, and then, when I die, cool. I'm dead.
Right. Well, there's on that thought, like, when you die, you're just straight up dead. Are you one of the kinds of atheists that recognizes, like, a parallel with religion through the anti-religion? Because for me, and I don't mean it in any way that's like
a parallel of atheism with anti-religion.
No, a parallel of atheism with most religious structures, like.
Oh,
because in my head,
in other words, atheism itself becomes a religion.
Yeah,
so
and I don't mean that in any negative way.
I think it can.
Yeah, I always looked at it as a religion, but it's not because I want to fit it in with everything else. I just think that.
Well, I think true according to my definition of atheism, it's not any true sort of religion.
No, but I feel like
I think someone can kind of distort the meaning of it to a certain degree, where if you almost arrive at some kind of weird atheistic dogma, and I don't mean like science. I mean, science can't ever be dogma, but there could be some ways that people are basically, making these assumptions about stuff that isn't any different or any less, provable or disprovable than things of faith and religion.
But whether or not it's provable or not, that totally I see what you're saying. And that's really
that's
a smart thing to say. Yeah, but regardless of if the theory is right or whatever, like, I guess I always looked at atheism in a positive light because I look at, like, praying like dreaming to me. Like, I think that most people do it in a certain form, and I don't mean to distort it, but I just think that prayer and church attendance and spirituality are replaced with similar things in most beliefs. I don't think that your church is the woods. I don't think that your prayer is science. But I do think that, like, I think that most regular human beings crave a form of that structure in some regard. I don't think it's because they need God. I just think it's because they, whatever thing, small or big, they have faith in conceptually, sometimes can become their little, like, Mecca or Messiah in a totally different way. Not in a way where they're like, I believe in something otherworldly. Not at all. Just that, like, I guess, like, the world around you can be a church and not be in an evangelical way.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But that's the only terms I have for it. I would never force those terms into atheism. I just don't have anything else to call it.
I don't know if I see what you mean. I don't know if I have. And maybe other people do.
Yeah, I don't think everyone does it. I just think that
I'm not sure that I do. I know that there's this theory out there that that even despite whether or not there is a God out there or not, that there actually might be some part of the human brain that almost, they call it like the I forget the term for it, like the God part of the brain, just call it, where human beings almost have this emotional need to believe in
something like that.
That's
kind of what I'm speaking to.
Maybe I don't know if that's true or not, because I feel like I don't have that at all. But it might actually be, in more. That expression might be in more subtle ways that I'm not even really aware of. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think so because I think if you break it down into two subtle things, then it just becomes meaningless.
Right.
It's not the same
I suppose
thing,
I'm distorting a little when I say this stuff. I didn't really look at it as distorting until you said that, but I suppose I'm making it what I want it to be instead of looking at it for what it is. I guess I always just thought that, I've said this on other podcasts, but one time Jack said to me that that you start out as nothing, then you're born, and then you end as nothing. And to me, that there was soulfulness, and what I took from that is that there was a soulful outlook on death and birth, regardless of if God exists or not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so to me, that kind of paralleled any structure of anyone's like belief in things that are more of the soul. But then again, that can't really be put into terms of religion or church. So I guess it's more like you have to start broader if you're going to put atheism and Christianity in the same boat, you're putting it in the same boat when you're talking of extracurricular activities of the mind other than your practical thing. It's not even about it's like way more broad than the only way they parallel is when you're thinking about death or when you're thinking about things that have meaning to you. They can't parallel in the word religion so much.
And that's what it's all that is about. I mean, honestly, all that is just about death and everyone having some baseline discomfort as to what the hell or heaven happens.
Yeah.
What happens when when you're dead?
Yeah, but what I like about
anymore.
you is I get the feeling that you're not an atheist because I can't believe how many people say this, but I don't know why there's like millions and millions of people that are like, I'm an atheist because why would God ever make this world so horrible?
No,
You hear it so much, and I just like that you don't say that because
that's almost,
who the hell? Why is everybody saying that?
That actually makes that's like
what, so
I,
the
you know
whole
what I
reason
see
is
that
that
as
like your a relative died or like
well yeah I see that as someone coming like
if God
what
existed,
I think is the
my
right
life would be paradise.
I see that as someone like coming to what I think is the right conclusion for like the totally wrong reasons. Like, and I think if you kind of arrive at, if you think you're an atheist and you've kind of arrived to that point because of that, you're not gonna be a happy person.
No, because you're
gonna have a lot of unresolved anger.
Yeah, you're basically saying I don't believe in God because I believe that God betrayed me. So it's ridiculous. Like, and I'm not saying life is awesome or anything, but like, I'm not saying be more positive. Why do you think things are so bad? But like, I would never be like, well, I took a look around me and I see that people are bringing kids into this kind of world. And I see that people are dying who are good people, and I realize God doesn't exist.
Right.
Because those things all happen within the constructs of Christianity. There's no reason, whether one side of the fence or the other, to ever be like, well, God probably doesn't exist because of these things. So I don't know what like to me
it's just
man, that's the weirdest answer in the whole world to me. Like that never crossed my mind.
It's kind of just it's almost like an easy way out.
Yeah, they're like, look at how bad things are. Do you think God exists? Like, I don't know whether that's here or there. Well, I don't know why that would be here nor there, but yeah, whatever. I don't know. But anyways, okay. So, if you could only listen to one song over and over again, what would it be?
So I heard you ask.
Yeah.
I hate.
You're on an island. You're on an island. There's a radio there with you.
Right.
There's batteries.
Oh no! I got terms. I got the terms.
Okay. And but one thing, I don't know if you heard this because I only said it in one I haven't released yet. You obviously, I know this is probably obvious to you, but it's not that the song's going to play repeat the rest of your life. You can turn it off whenever you want.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
So I heard you ask. Who is it, Ellen? Ellen, this in the first podcast.
I liked your answer so much.
I know. Did she like? I wouldn't have thought of that. Like that wouldn't have been my answer, but she gave like the most. I forget exactly what she said. But I would pick a classic, like the longest classical piece of all time that would have different tempos and happy parts and sad parts. It's like
more or less that's what we arrived to together as that conclusion. She was like classical, and I was like, make it long, make it something subtle, so that you can notice something new in it.
Do you think she would actually? I'm like talking about Ellen. Do you think that's actually her pick, or is she trying to come up with the best?
I don't. Yeah, that's a hard question because you like to think that you're entertaining it hypothetically.
So what I'm asking is Ellen a liar? Is that her real
I
selection?
think she would. I honestly think that there'd be such bigger things on her mind if she was on an island alone the rest of her life that she probably would just be like, hit me with a long classical song. Just this sucks. like
yeah, that's true.
So like
That's true. So
unless that caused her to be like, you know what, I gotta pick like Don't Worry Be Happy, Bob Marley or something because I haven't been so depressed.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Like so that could be a knee jerk thing, but that's not a good example. But
yeah.
she might possibly
Could
choose
you
something
imagine
in a
that
major
song,
key that is happy in a classical
Yeah.
so because it'd be so depressing to be on an island alone the rest of your life.
I'd probably have to. If I was stuck on an island alone and then I realized that was the song, I would probably have to go myself.
Yeah.
That's such a terrible song.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways, so that'll actually kind of feed into what my answer will be. So,
Okay.
So I thought it immediately popped into my head what the song was. And it's like a terrible choice, but I know it is the choice because how I interpret the song. So, it's just it's a famous, well-known song. It's just a George Harrison song by the Beatles. The While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Oh, okay.
But it would have to be not the White Album version. It would have to be
acoustic one.
Yeah, it has to be his acoustic guitar.
That one that appears on the Cirque.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
The one on
Anthology.
there's one on Anthology that's just him. Almost, I think it might even be the original demo.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't heard
with
that
the
in a long
guitar.
time, but that's a smart thing.
Hey, Ellen. Ellen tried to walk through and.
We were
I
just
put your wallet up on the by the coffee just so he didn't eat it.
Did you steal my money?
Do you ever carry cash?
No.
Exactly.
You making fun that I'm poor?
I won't. I haven't stooped low enough to take people's cards yet.
Ellen, if you were on that island with the classical song that you mentioned earlier, for real, would you still choose a long classical song?
Yeah.
Or is your secret answer Kesha?
She's giving a real annoyed look on her face right now. You're on the podcast!
I'm so excited and honored to be here. I have a long list of people that I'd like to thank.
Yeah, first and foremost, Mom. Hey, Mom, we're on a podcast.
Have a good night, you guys.
See ya.
See ya. So that's my. So it's the one from Anthology. It's just him playing the guitar.
That's a good.
The one on Love is actually that track with all the
with stuff in it. Yeah.
operatic orchestra stuff in the background. So I picked that song because I've noticed that I've been able to listen to that song, listen to it a million times. And I've been able to listen to that song when I've been happy, sad, pissed off, whatever, different moods. And I can find a part of the song that no matter what mood I'm in, there's different parts of that song that make me enjoy it for that mood, so that it's, whatever, it makes you feel better in that mood. So that's the song that pops. But that's if you think about it, though, that's a depressing ass song.
Well,
it's not a happy song.
It's a depressing song, but the chorus is uplifting enough
to
carry you through, and the repetitiveness of a song like that is probably acceptable to listen to because it probably become quite a bit about the lyrics after a few listens for you, after years and years. And of course, you go through phases where you deconstructed and hated it and whatever. Who knows what the hell would happen to you? You just want to kill yourself, just from the song, if not being on an island. But
I think ultimately any song that any song I would hate.
But you chose a good one. Well, let me tell you my answer because I've never said this, and it's not that well known of a song, but that song "Broom People" by the Mountain Goats. It's track 2 on Sunset Tree. It's 2 chords.
I'm sure I don't remember it, but I know I've heard it, but I don't remember it.
It's
2
very
chords.
I think whole song is 2 chords the whole time. But it's like My Guitar Gently Weeps in that there's these little layers to it. There's kind of I think some of the appeal of the subtlety of Guitar Gently Weeps is the organ that pops in the, well, it's there the whole time, but the organ really shows up a lot in the chorus and sounds nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Broom People and Mountain Goats, which I know I like any song I would go through, I would just hate it after a few years, but it's a short song. It seems like the worst choice, but I've heard it so many times, probably more than any other song in my life, and it is just as good to me as the first listen. Like nothing has changed yet.
Well, I guess
Probably
that's
like
good.
How you feel about My Guitar Gently Weeps. Like
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and I know I would start to hate it eventually, but I would hate it slower than any other song I'd ever hate. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
It would take so long to hate that song, and Guitar Gently Weeps is a good contender for that mood because it's neither happy nor sad. It's just kind of melancholy happy. So like,
Is it really? I think. I think most people would probably tell you it's.
most
That's a
people would
pretty
say it's
sad
sad,
song.
but I don't know. I'm kind of.
I don't know if that just speaks to my personality.
tagline-
Like I tend to
Yeah.
like respond to that sound or that I don't even want to say that sound. I mean that type of that kind of emotion invoked by that type of song. Maybe I respond to. I mean,
Well, there's so many angles to come at it from, but what me and the guys in the band usually tag ourselves as is happy songs with sad lyrics. So to me, there's always a bittersweet in most any song, and so to me, it would never be like George Harrison wrote a sad song, huh? You know, it'd never be as simple as that.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, just should. Right.
Yeah, and not to get it ridiculous about it, but if you look at it, if you want to look at it like culturally, he pulled some words out of a phone book and wrote a lot of lyrics based on that is the story. And so first and foremost, you're like, oh cool, he's just crafting. It's not that he was necessarily sad, maybe, or whatever. And then the chorus probably has some, there's probably plenty of meaning, but I don't really like looking at it that way. You know me well enough to know I don't want to hear the songwriter sad. I want to make it my own song. That's what most people do when they hear a song.
Right.
But to me, yeah, it's
Which
a
I don't
little
know if I'm
sad.
exactly the
You're not, but I'm sure you don't.
same
You're
way.
not sitting there brooding while the song's playing that much. I think you like get something positive out of the song. Like,
Yeah.
that's all I mean. I'm not saying it's
Sometimes I
slap
think
happy.
sometimes I want to brood.
Yeah,
It's sometimes I don't.
but you know, you're not going to listen to an atonal, experimental, classical song where you would really brood. You're listening to something
No.
that could be like, I'm brooding. I'm down a level. I'm brooding a little more, a little happy, a little, you know.
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah, like, but totally, sad songs are some of the best songs. But I guess they just transform and aren't super sad anymore after a few listens for me. But yeah,
No, they're not. There's a certain level of
right.
you can be desensitized, I guess. But
I look at most of George Harrison's songs the same way that most of the public looks at Radiohead or Blur. Like all the songs could be sad songs, but they're not.
That is true.
They strike a balance. Yeah, it's not that bad. They all could be sad, but none of them are like, I hate my life. Or,
no, then none of them are like despondent.
no. I
It's
think
just
that's
more. It's more
important.
reflective.
Yeah. Melancholy is, to me, not the most negative.
No, it's definitely not.
But okay, so that's a good answer, though. Yeah, the answers like that.
Did I get that one right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forget what
I got it
Sophie-
right.
What did Sophie say?
Oh.
She said Bohemian Rhapsody, which that's good.
Oh.
Yeah. She
That's
just had
not
lots
bad.
of parts.
That's not bad.
And then she did, I forget what her other answer was. She fell on some other answer finally, but I think her most honest answer was probably Bohemian Rhapsody, because though everybody knows it back to front to back, I guess it would just be like cheating and having 5 songs.
I mean,
or 3
it's
songs.
like a long, complex enough song that you would have different parts that you could focus on that you'd want to, that you're really going for in that mood, maybe.
And
That's
it's
cool.
like a loophole. It's like, oh, I choose 4 songs in one.
You left me shivering in the corner of a camper, while you went to see a movie. You left the
Dude, when you hear like me and whoever's with me, this is just like a conversational podcast that hopefully gets across to the listener as like, yeah, just conversation that might spark an idea in their head that we have no idea about, but maybe helps them along. Like calling it nursery seems appropriate because it seems like it's something that encourages like practice or something that serves to breed or foster an idea. So like I just thought nursery was a nice like blanket term for the whole thing. But what do you think? Totally free association. What do you think when you hear that word?
Nursery? Complete stereotypical answer. I don't think of a physical nursery for a little kid, but I think of I don't know why I think of little kids, but like multiple little. I picture like a pack of little kids or something in a room.
Okay.
Not even, but I'm not picturing like a nursery like with
like a church nursery.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
kind
what
of
Steve said. Yeah, Steve said that too.
Did he say that? I don't even remember him saying.
Yeah, he said that he thought of like the school that the kids are, or the room the kids are in while the church service happens, or something to the effect. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm picturing.
Well, you went to the same church.
We did. I don't know.
You went to the same church as us, and that happened. But you're probably thinking more about like kids that are all at some old lady babysitter's house, or all in some playroom, like a nondescript playroom.
It's just like kids, a nondescript room with a bunch of children.
Yeah, wherever it is, doesn't matter. Yeah. That's interesting.
It's kind of it's like a positive image. It's not negative. It's like there could be like people that would hate kids or something. So, oh God, a room full of kids.
Yeah. Okay. So
could you imagine?
And they're playing because they're kids.
Yeah. Like it's like like kids playing with toys in this room or something.
This
all
room,
happy
even. Yeah.
Cooperating.
Okay. Well, then on that note, kids. There's obviously like a large side of us that like still has the like kind of a child mindset. We can kind of seem like we turn it on and off for like humorous situations. So I asked Steve about, since you're one of the like main cast of like bullskit.com and bullskit
Bullskit.com, check it out. Bullskit.com, check it out.
Bullskit.com, check it out. We do a comedy skit troupe in Ohio, and it's called Bullskit Productions. Craig and I do it. It's really funny.
Seriously, you guys need to check this out. We need fans. That's the only thing we're missing. We need people to watch us.
We do actually need a lot of people to watch us, because now that a lot of us are 30 or approaching to being in our 30s, like we've lost our college crowd, and it's weird. Like for a while we kind of had like a handful of people that like cared and like watched, and now we're kind of at a loss. So if you're like a random person,
you're depressing me right
now. Well, no, I don't even mean. I'm really happy. I get behind the skits.
Dude, it's over, man. Bullskit is over.
It's all over.
We're done.
Yeah. But
don't bother. We're gonna actually. You won't hear that. We'll edit that out.
But if you guys, anyone if you happen to be listening to this podcast because of a tag or because of some random like stumbling upon, if you like our mentality on this podcast, this kind of scatterbrain, like harebrained humor we have, you'll love bullskit.com. It's so much fun. And we do these really fun skits that we oftentimes use like the very candid shots that we don't think we're going to put in. That becomes a skit. So it's very much so by the seat of our pants. And it's a really fun thing to shoot with our friends. And what I was going to ask you about is piggybacking off of something Steve said in the other podcast. He said the reason he likes doing bullskit and doing skits in general and comedy is because a lot of the people that he's fans of that are somewhere around our style, like Lonely Island or Derek Comedy, he says that he likes them because when he watches, he can tell they're having fun. And, that's kind of our appeal, I think. That's when people tell me they like the skits. If once in a while, if I run into somebody like that, they usually are like, say something to the effect of, it's just cool that you guys like goof around so much and it's so obvious that you're just like being silly. And like, I know that sounds pretty broad, but what I was going to ask you is, what do you personally, that being said, that's probably the reason all of us like it. So I'm not going to ask you why you like it, but what do you get out of it? What's therapeutic about doing comedy, if anything? What's rewarding for you about doing it aside from people liking it?
you know, all the usual stuff, the fame, the prestige, the women. I mean, it can be tiring. I mean, you know, we had so much of that at one time, and then it's like, lay off me!
Lay off
Get
me,
off
I'm
me.
a person too.
I'm human. I'm just a normal person. I can't be on all the time.
Why is everybody asking me to sign my name on their piece of paper? I can't handle stuff like this. I'm gonna have to. I wish so badly I could just not be famous and work in a factory and not have anyone know me anymore because I have to sign a piece of paper every time I go out in public.
Yeah.
I'm so sad about my life.
Don't cut yourself down like that, man. That's not. You're better than that, man. You're better. No, it's I don't know. It's like I said, it's fun. It's fun to do. I think, you know, it's like what I do on a day-to-day basis. Like, you know, I'm a research scientist. That's my profession. So that's really
Contrast.
really left brain stuff. And so it's kind of nice to be able to. It's kind of nice to be able to try to delve into the other half of your brain sometimes, the more like spontaneous, creative portion, because sometimes it's just a lot. I think even lately in my life, there's been a lot of like left brain overload.
Sure.
So being able to do skits and really just an extension from that, it's just, you know, coming down here and hanging out with this circle of friends where it's more, you know, just the way we hang out and the type of banter that we have and the way we interact. It's just very loose and freestyling and
letting off steam.
Even that in of itself is kind of a right-brained experience versus.
Totally. You mean us just hanging out?
Us just hanging out, even.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, doing the skits is just kind of maybe a more like concentrated extension of that, but I mean, I would couple that just with, you know, the whole experience of coming down here and just hanging out too is just kind of a way to get away from what I do up there, which is go to work, live by myself, walk the dog.
Yeah.
Read research papers, do research things.
You seem more excited about doing the skits than others of us once in a while, because I think that Steve, as a camp counselor, uses his right brain a lot to like stay creative and like keeping the kids on their toes.
True, and I think that's why he's maybe more willing than the rest of us to like really be discriminate about skit ideas that we do. Like sometimes it's like, guys, that's a good idea, but I mean, we don't have to do that.
Totally.
You know,
and that's kind of
we'll
nice.
come up with something better, you know, in like a month or 3 or 5. You know, whenever I come back from one of my extended trips, then we'll do another skit. Then that'll be fine.
Right.
It's all good, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And that's kind of a neat dynamic to strike, because like you're not somebody who's like, let's make it right now. That's what I do. I'm kind of like the person that tries to get it done. But like,
I probably do.
but
like
you're probably most positive about doing it. Like
I probably get excited because I'm not. So I'm like the person in the circle of friends that lives the furthest away.
Yeah.
So the visit, like
so
coming,
like, dude, we have to.
Yeah, coming down to hang out, like whatever. If we're going to do a skit, then it's more of a moment for me.
Right.
And it's not even as if I'm not, like I'm in a pretty relatively high percentage of the skits.
Yeah.
It's not like you guys make a crap load of skits and then every once in a while appear. Like I'm in a lot of them, I guess. But
yeah, but you feel you just put yourself in a like semi-outer circle because you know that that's what you're going to get into, whether it's making a skit or hanging out when you come here. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, you're the one that uses the left brain the most out of all of us, I'm sure, in that regard. So it's interesting to think, because even with everybody else we know has something that they're like managerial at restaurants or like camping or like any other outlets we have as far as music and third class and stuff. Like there's always a left brain thing, but even you with the extracurricular, like with sports and stuff, sometimes there's a practicality and logical thing that comes into even with
like
sports.
The reason I even get into sports, it's not even
obviously there's a passion there, but I'm saying
it is, but that for me is like
it's mechanical.
It's so like analytical and like it's almost like a numbers. Like I'm all about like the numbers. And statistics and stuff.
It's not
like that.
analytical like this podcast.
It's so much
like,
left.
Yeah,
That's
number analytical. Yeah.
that's actually kind of
Yeah.
that's actually kind of sad.
Sports to me, just like atheism and
I should be
Christianity, like
Yeah.
to me, sports is just it's exactly like music. It's exactly like comedy, in that it's all about that weird moment that you can't define. And you don't know why it's good. So to me, it's like but I know
there's parts of me though. I wish that I could be like. I could be spending more time on something that's probably more constructive and stuff. Like if I took a certain chunk of time that I spend like watching or reading about sports, which is a depressingly huge amount of time, I could like use some of that. So let's say I just use a few hours of that a week, and just did something simple like listen to more music.
Yeah.
I wonder because I'm not someone that even like I listen to music a lot, but. And I'm not someone that, doesn't have any other interest other than sports for extracurricular activities, but like maybe that would be more like enlightening for me overall. Maybe not. Maybe I'm doing exactly what I want to do and
Well, it's weird because it's funny that you said music.
I don't know.
Because I was just gonna say to you, like, so I have a job where I'm at a produce company and I work a lot by myself, so I have headphones in and I listen to podcasts and music a lot, and so if you
do you think you listen when you're at work? Do you think you listen more? Like, what percentage of time do you think you're listening to music versus podcasts?
Lately, I guess it's probably like 20 and 80. 20 music, 80 podcasts. But
really?
I think my life is more 50-50.
Okay.
Like, I think I'm just in a phase right now.
Okay.
But yeah, most of it's 50-50. And why I say this is because I think it's akin to sifting through sports articles and stuff. Because
kind of.
What I'm doing is I'm looking through lots of trash to find the treasure. I'm like, is this song good for this playlist? This song good? Is this album good? Is this and there's so much time where I'm not listening to stuff that I know is good in order to find the good other stuff. So in my head,
that's interesting.
like you're going through these sports articles, most of the time you're like, God, and you're just annoyed with, or you're like, this team sucks. This, and you're like reading, then you get to one one good article.
That is what I do.
Yeah. And you're certain.
Kind of weed through the junk to get to the good stuff.
Right. You'd obviously, otherwise you would be somebody who wasn't willing to change, somebody who wasn't willing to open up and look for new experiences if you weren't reading those articles. Like, obviously, if you were just like, nope, Browns 1990, whatever, that was the game, and you just quit. Like, if I was like, yeah, CCR 1974 album, best album, I don't listen to new music. Like, that's worse. So, in my head, they're akin to each other. But that's only because sports is an art form to me. Like I know you got numbers, but those numbers are the same thing as me looking at their chord progression. That's just me being like, they've used those 3 chords before. That's the same thing.
I think sports is one of those things. It is an art form, but unfortunately, for like diehard sports fans like me, so much time is spent reading and analyzing stuff outside the actual moments of the game. Watching the game itself is kind of, or can be like watching an art form, but the art really only exists in that moment. Mm-hmm. So it's as if all the time spent on sports, maybe 10% of it is actually experiencing this art form, and then the other 90% of it is
everything else. Though.
Do you think so?
The Voice.
Maybe that's like you're just talking about the music.
Dude,
yeah,
American Idol, The Voice. All that, have they ever just stopped looking at the technique and cared about the song for a second? I'm like,
no, not once.
Even in my personal experience, we just pressed a vinyl album. It's expensive. Mm-hmm. We had to go through a bunch of stuff we don't want to do and make phone calls and place orders and spend money we didn't want to spend, all for it to be in this jacket, in this little vinyl thing that looks really cool, and we're excited. But the music on the record is, regardless of the format, is the only true thing. And it's like, just like sports, it's like the only thing there is when somebody just pushes their body to a certain extent and does something that becomes this landmark in like sports and just does it. It's like they have to, but unfortunately they have to do I'm not saying that. Unfortunately, to hear My Guitar Gently Weeps, you have to watch American Idol. I don't mean it like that. I just mean like, unfortunately, there's always going to be a level of sifting to get to that good stuff. So to me, yeah, I'm sitting there criticizing a chord progression, thinking about the type of guitar strings we have to buy and stuff, and that's important, but it's not fun. It's all in,
No.
it's all in the chance of getting to that one tiny 5 minutes of our set that really works. Like, and yeah, 5 minutes of a Browns game out of how many Browns games that was gold. You know, like, so to me, no matter how much it's funny to joke about sports and stupid things like that, to me, all those art forms, you have to go through like about 80% BS to get to 20% awesome.
Shouldn't there be a way to capture more magic? Maybe not.
No,
Maybe
I
that's
don't
what
think
makes
so.
it magic. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess it would if
Well,
the
it's like
fact that
Saturday
the
Night
moments
Live.
like that are
Saturday Night Live. If
Fleeting.
all the sketches were as good as our favorite, we wouldn't watch it.
true.
And that brings me back to so obviously travel is a big part of this podcast because I like asking people what they think about this state, what they think about whatever. Yeah, that road trip, man, that was so awesome. You, me, and Peppy got in a car during hurricanes aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, drove to New York, sat on a sidewalk with our friend Mindy, who at the time lived in New York, now lives in Pittsburgh, and visits us in Ohio all the time. All four of us sat on the sidewalk
Yep.
for
22 hours.
22 hours waiting to get the
We were
chance.
in a
to get
standby
another
line
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get a ticket
Yeah.
to get into SNL that might get us into SNL. Not guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's whoever who actually got a ticket
Yeah.
decided not to show up. We would maybe be
So
able
we
to
waited
get it.
in a line to wait in another line, essentially.
Yes.
Which was awesome. It was a blast. It was horrifying after like hour 18 approached, but like, or maybe earlier, maybe
Yeah,
hour
the
15.
last.
Hour
I mean,
15,
we're
yeah.
just out
Yeah.
underneath that NBC marquee
Yeah.
on 49th Street.
But it was
Um,
awesome. We
out
got
on the
in.
street.
We went, and Craig made the right call because we had the choice of either seeing the rehearsal or the main show, which both would have been awesome. But we gambled on the main show. We ended up getting in. It was Louis C.K. and the band Fun. It was a pretty exceptional show. Like, definitely one. If I was at home watching, I would be like, "That's one of the better ones." Like, it was pretty.
It
good.
was one of the better
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
that season.
But it
When
is
did we
weird.
go? It was 2000.
12.
Holy
October,
crap.
whenever Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah.
And
That
that
long
was a
ago.
blast. And going
Man.
to New York alone, just as like you, me, and Peppy road tripping to New York is awesome in itself already.
Right.
But the fact that we got to see SNL was amazing. But yeah, like seeing that is good. But somebody pointed out, I think on a Nerdist podcast or somewhere, they were saying that like their favorite sketches are always the last
Like the 10 to 1
yeah,
sketch
yeah.
at the end.
yeah. And I found that to be kind of true with us because we're comedy people. Because like, I don't remember that particular episode's sketch near the end. I'm sure it was a good one, but when Betty White was on in 2010 or 11, whatever Betty White was on.
Around there, yeah.
she,
2009, 2010.
that skit that like they even.
What was the last? What was the?
I think I don't know if it was the last one, but one of the ones was CSI Sarasota. That was
Oh,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
coolest things I've
That
ever
was
seen.
that
on-
wasn't the very last one, but that
Oh
was
my
near
God.
the end. Yeah.
Dude, that was seriously. I haven't seen a lot of Saturday Night Live, but that was one of the best skits I've ever seen on that show. I was in love with that skit, and it was just because she's so kind of like nonchalantly through those stupid cataract glasses on every time with that music playing over. That is the essence of bullskit. That was the essence of the humor we have. Like, and I'm sure there's better sketches that I haven't seen.
No, that is
Yeah.
exact. That is a great
But
example.
is the
of
essence of what we strive
the kind of
for, with
stuff that we do.
Most things we do,
Yeah.
this podcast included, like the essence of like her just kind of sloppily putting those stupid sunglasses on, having some rock music play,
Yeah.
and her saying like a really punchy, stupid like cop punchline where she's like, "Well, that's not what my ex-wife said," and she didn't say that, but putting this sunglasses on. that is the best kind of humor. It's not that referential. It's just punchliney where you're just like, I don't care that it's CSI necessarily. I don't care that it's Sarasota. All I care is that the way that she has that cue every time. Repetition and humor is awesome. like repetition and just slight variation is like some of the best.
It's almost like a skit making fun of itself somehow.
Right. It does. I imagine that if someone saw it and didn't know what CSI was, and just had a general idea of like, just like
There's just some
action
cop show,
shows,
yeah,
yeah,
some
right.
action
It
show.
would make it fun. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it, I guess. Is there anything you want to add for like the listeners at home before we go and make my mom make us pizza and peanut butter cookies and play ping pong with her.
KB, if you're listening now, which will be at a later time than this moment,
Right.
you should probably be back in the kitchen making pizza for us right now instead of listening to this podcast.
And don't be lazy with the way that you do the dough. Make sure you roll it real thin so that the flavor has no place to escape to. Because I
She's
don't
not
like
going to start that now.
Well, no, she does it. I guess Jack's better. You know what? Tell Jack to make the crust.
Yeah, go right now. Take the wait. You don't have anything to listen to this to, do you? She's not actually ever.
No,
gonna
she's
listen
actually
to this
listened to one. She got mad at me about the one I did with Steve. I was like, "Hey, Steve, Mom always gets worried, and when she was young, she did dangerous things."
message. Oh no!
Yeah, like it was like this every description of any parent. But number one, I said
You said your mom did cool stuff.
yeah, right.
You made
No,
it
no.
sound like a human being. Oh man!
Here are the two reasons she got mad at me, and they're both justified. I said that she hitchhiked through France when she was a kid, which she never did. I just had my facts
Oh,
wrong.
so you
I had it
made a
wrong.
factual.
She had like a French person pick her up in
Oh.
like a different country who was she still hitchhiked through a foreign country. It
Yeah.
was still but
Why would she even be mad? Like, why did that even? She's actually
that was
mad
an
at you.
afterthought. She was like, and it
Okay.
wasn't France, by the way. But what she said
Oh,
was,
she's
she
using
was
that
like,
as a-
she was
okay.
like, listen, I'm not scared to live life now just because I'm older. And I was like, well, Mom, I just meant that most of us, myself included, after we do so many things in life, we look back and we're like, how the hell did I get away with that? I better start being a little more careful. I got lucky to get through life as it is.
Right.
And she was like, well, and I said that she was scared to leave her house and drive and stuff. So she,
This is what's gonna happen.
I just painted a picture of her that was
Yeah.
not totally fair. Like I was like, Mom doesn't do anything, and she's old, and she is scared of everything, and she used to be young and completely brave and did everything. And I didn't mean to like.
This is what's gonna happen with you doing a podcast now, dude. Dude, you're gonna gradually. If you do this for a while, you're gonna gradually become more and more open and think less about some of the
Dude.
things that you're gonna
I
say.
can't wait till that like moment happens
Yeah.
because it'll take a few more tries, but I think it'll eventually catch on to something like that where we forget the mic. Oh, dude, I didn't hit record.
Ah, you didn't?
Nah.
God
You know what?
damn, dude. Oh, for real?
Yeah, here, hold on. Let me
Oh shit.
here. Let me here.
I was gonna do
I'll
my
hit-
whole big reveal about me, like actually being a woman and having a vagina and stuff. I
Oh
was
yeah,
gonna get
yeah,
canceled.
me too, dude. About me too. Jeez.
Nah, I don't
Okay.
think you should actually.
Okay, once we hit record, I'll just say I'm a guy. But when I hit record, you can lead with that and tell everybody your secret. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.